And now it's Deborah Cobelt Live and the Little Italy Podcast.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today on Deborah Cobelt Live and my Little Italy Podcast. Super honored to welcome our guest today, Claudio Santini, who is an internationally renowned photographer, artist, and author as well, and currently has an incredible exhibit in Naples, Italy, that he's going to be talking about. It runs through the end of this month in December. You can also find his artwork sort of everywhere, gallery here in Los Angeles, where he's represented, also online. But he's had such a rich life in terms of being a photographer and an artist. And I joined him today to talk about that journey. So thank you so much for joining us today, Claudio.
Thank you for having me. Yes, Deborah, thank you.
Talk to me a little bit about what's behind your art. And in particular, let's start actually with the exhibit that's currently happening in Naples, because we have quite a few people who watch this show who are also down over in Italy, my family included. And I'd love to share that about you.
Yes, well, as you know, Naples is a very interesting town because for the energy that they just give to this town. So we were called to do an artist residence for a month, and then I had the occasion to spend 30 days in the town, which I never did. I went in Naples many times, but I never spent such a long time. And we interpreted this town, all the artists that were invited, just to show why this town is so full of energy and affects so much the character of Napolitans. So yeah. I just went for 30 days around this town, find these little icons that eventually I represented in color and with my technique, which is photography and painting, to just represent this incredible energy that we all see now in Naples. Yes.
Yeah. So go ahead, please.
So, I mean, my focus was on the stratification that historically speaking, there was in Naples in 2,800 years of its history. And then I tried to just take this, details about their personalities, that this kind of fatalistic approach that they have with life and with death at the same time is part of their character. So then I went in church and went in this monument where I just extract this icon that speak exactly about this concept. So basically, I just amplify through my way to see this, that in a sense that, this is a chaotic town. There is a lot of energy, but I try to just isolate this icon through my contemplative attitude, Yes, and in fact, you see in my images that I presented in 15 paintings, there is this line of contemplation and silence, which is the opposite of the energy that there is in Naples. So the show is very interesting because at 11 eyes, different eyes, they saw the city in completely different way. And it's nice to see, and very interesting to see these different approaches. Yes.
How do you approach your work? Because you really not only have a critical eye, but I think that you approach you really bring out the soul of the subject, whether it is a human being or an object that you're photographing. Please tell me what's behind everything that you shoot.
Well, through my profession, since the beginning, I always photograph architecture and people because they're the two things that are extremely connected. I mean, architecture is where is our space, what represents the space that human live, and they lived in so many different ways. That's why professionally I photograph so many places to live. From the very fancy home, the guy that live in a grotto, or they live in a tent in jail, or each of these places is really a representation of, in the sense of our inner world. So I'm interested in that kind of inner world that I try to represent in my art, giving space to this attitude that is, for me, is important to facilitate this reading, which is this contemplative attitude towards the subjects. Yeah.
Right, where we stand back, and in a little while, not now, but in a little while in our interview, we're actually going to put up some of your work and you can explain to us what was behind it. But, you know, you've got the kind of artwork where I know when I went to your studio, and you have some of it behind you, actually, where I would just stop and I reflect. And then I have so many thoughts going through my mind about what I may be looking at. And it really invokes a feeling to me. And that's very special. That means you did something really to touch the people that are experiencing your work. And I appreciate that from you. It's not always the case, but I felt that. I really feel it. So I want to thank you for that. Let's dial it back a little bit to who you were as a kid. You were born in Rome. Is this something you always wanted to do? When did you first pick up a camera? Talk to me about your early days.
Well, I mean, I always had this curiosity, you know, driving at dusk in a new town. I mean, I'm not a tourist. I don't like just to see a known place, but you know, I'm very attracted to just seeing through windows at dusk from outside the homes, because is the way just to reveal the different personality. Sure, the house and the place where we live is the most intimate place that represents us more than we talk. If you go in a house of someone that you don't know, even if before he speaks, you just have so many information about the place where he lives that is very, you know, is very interesting. So I was very interested since the beginning. I was a kid, 14 years old, and just doing this. And then this is probably the first desire to become an architectural photographer, because magazine, they send me all over to photograph interesting place, beautiful homes, but also simple homes, the house of the artist, which they're not rich, they're just full of ideas in a sense. So this was the first approach I had with photography, and to try to document this kind of reality through homes, through the interiors of the house. And then I did it professionally, and I still do for many, many years. And then until I had the necessity to just express this kind of curiosity through not a commissioned work. And this is my art. My art is my free mind that just goes and represent this attitude that we should have to reality, because then at that point, all beautiful things can happen. And then it's through my technique of meditation and many others approach that facilitate this reading of reality. Yeah.
Very interesting. When you started working in first photographing architecture, what are some of the magazines that you've been displayed in, and publications as well? Because you've really been, you know, your work has reached a certain level of excellence. Can you talk to us about some of the places where you've been featured?
I guess, yeah, I guess I was very lucky, because at the beginning, when I was at the University of Architecture, I started photographing the work of my professors. So my professors, they were very well connected internationally, and they asked me, "Do you like to come to America to photograph our project?" Whoa, this was great. I said, "Sure. I mean, it would be fantastic." Other day, they said, "We don't pay you anything, but if you come, and when we come back with all the story, we introduce you to all the editorial world internationally." Oh, that's fantastic. Wow. So this is my beginning. So I did this trip to US, and then I photographed beautiful place, from the house of the unknown actors to the very famous people. And then when I came back, they maintained their promise, and they connect me with all this magazine. I immediately published my work all over. Yeah. So it was a very interesting and unusual approach. And then that's the way I started. Yeah.
I mean, you've appeared in everything from the New York Times to
Casavolte,
Los Angeles Times.
In America, in US, they always admire the Italian magazine because they're really well done. There is incredible, also the richness of the paper in the sense until the contents, which is amazing because at that time when I was working, this magazine were driven by intellectual people, in Milan. So then I had the opportunity to know the director of this magazine, which was very inspiring. And so I worked with Domus, I worked with Abitare, I worked with Casa Vogue at the time, now it doesn't exist anymore, but you know, all these beautiful magazines that actually was the mirror of the society at that time, that anything about the design, we are well known in the world as Italian for our design. And then they had the capability to explain and make the design, Italian design, very desirable. It still is today. This is one of our winning points.
Yeah.
So
let me ask you, what makes your photograph seem so real and so rich, as opposed to perhaps a photograph I might take, which might seem more two-dimensional? Why do your photographs seem as though they come to life? What is it that you do? Is it the camera? Is it your eye? Is it you? What is it? Why is it so different?
Well, I can say you what the architect says about my photograph and why they choose me to photograph their project, because they say that I have the ability to synthesize the simple form of everything what happening in interiors in a very simple form, and then actually make the image very graphically balanced. So, and this is what anybody could do. Even today, we all photograph with the phone, and what the best photographs are. The most clean images, just remove the clutter about when you photograph anything, you just move, you want to take off the noise that the graphic noise I'm speaking about, not sound.
No.
Yes, and that is the secret of the simple image that actually nobilitate the work of an architect, and in a sense, is very gratifying for our eye to see something simple with few things, the simplicity.
Yes. It's interesting you said that, because I was about to say I enjoy photographing nature. I absolutely adore photographing nature. I get so much pleasure out of it. And I feel that whatever my eye sees, as small as the detail of it, and I also try and keep it simple so that people can just see what it is that I'm seeing. And maybe that's what it is. So whatever it is you see is coming out into your photo. I don't know if I'm explaining it very well, but I get that. I get that from you.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about, throughout your journey, you had a real transformative experience, I believe sometime in the 1990s, we're going back now, that really changed you through meditation. Could you talk about that? And did that moment then reflect in your work? I imagine yes.
Sure. I mean, we're speaking about simplicity here, right? And then when we're speaking about simplicity, it would be nice to transfer this concept to our mind. Our mind, as you know, is a monkey in a sense that produces so much, and we are not able sometimes to govern all the thoughts we have, because this actually brings us to confusion. So the kind of simplicity is beautiful to just apply to our mind, because we have a better clarity of the reading of the world that is around us, and not only in terms of landscape, but even in depth of thoughts. Because if we can govern one thing at a time, we have a better vision of what happened in our mind. So there are techniques out there. There are many techniques that can be practiced. And one of these, I choose the one that Buddha chose, which is called Vipassana meditation. And the Vipassana meditation, there are courses all over the world that can be practiced free. And then there is the difficult to do it because you have to isolate yourself for 10 days. And then they teach you how to just stop your mind and just follow one thought at a time until you arrive at the kind of a silence of your mind that is the inspiral condition to do anything we do. We became more efficient, basically, because we are able to process our mind and govern our mind one thing at a time, not all the confusion that we normally have because we don't have the capability to just govern this. Yes.
I imagine you still practice that, right?
Yes, yes. Not like it should be done because they teach you that you should do 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the evening, which is a kind of a monastic life. So it's too much, but you know,
yeah.
Yes, but even if you can do for a short time or every day, that has an incredible benefit for our everyday life. Yes.
Yeah. And you bring that to your art. There's no doubt about it.
In my case, that concept became the subject of my art, because when we are able to govern our mind in a sense that we can control it, we can discover that we can become a better people.
Yeah.
And we know how we need to be better people during our time, to where the decline of our humanity is evident.
Yeah, and in one of your recent exhibits, Silent Observation, it's about the mental state, right? Could you talk about that? When I was on your website, I was particularly intrigued by that, actually.
Well, yes, it's exactly this. I mean, when we are able to just observe reality with a silent mind, we just can get that kind of reading that, in my case, it gives me the way to translate it in beauty through my art, this concept. Because we can read a lot about this concept. We can study Buddhism in all its form, which is very interesting. But one thing is study the concept, and one thing is representing this concept. In my case, I became the representation of the concept to my personal style. So at that show, it was exactly this. I mean, how can you find this in everyday life, in every moment of your life, in a parking lot, or in a very simple situation where we we can discover peace in a simple situation. And this can be translated, since our simple life, clear to the highest level of politicians, right, of politics. And if they probably could govern their mind in a way that is that they don't have this kind of reactive mind, when you experience the kind of peace can be expanded at our society. Could you imagine how beautiful it could be and what good effect could have at social level, you know? So in my art, of course, is a simple way to do it for a contained niche, which is the art market. Think about if this could be in the hand of who really can have the tools to govern the world. So, it can be an incredible bigger effect than my work as an artist. But my work is a little example that how could be if it could be practiced at higher level. Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about AI, artificial intelligence, and photography and artwork, and because it's here, right? And do you see a way to use that with your work? Do you think it will interfere with work? What do you think?
At a technical level, yes, can be used, but considering that my work is motivated from this attitude, which is actually reflect our soul in a sense, artificial intelligence is not there. Artificial intelligence is good because he has all the information that human produce in instant context, right? Which is completely different that come out with an idea. I mean, where do we get ideas? No, if you ask where you get ideas and you ask to artificial intelligence, the artificial intelligence is in Christ. It can't, because having ideas and associate things is two different things. AI can associate millions of information, but can't have ideas, because ideas you need to. I know this is a bigger thing too. But, you know, we usually have a rational approach with reality. And when we want to have ideas, we need to approach our folly part, our craziness, you know, which is a risky thing. Artificial intelligence can't do that. So we can use artificial intelligence for an enormous amount of things, but when we need to arrive to an opinion like I'm trying to describe in this interview, artificial intelligence can't do that.
Right. It's not possible, certainly not. Go ahead.
Unless one day human can put in the hand of artificial intelligence the soul and this kind of way to access our emotion. But I don't know if that's possible. I don't think it's possible now. Yes. So artists, they can continue to express their own ideas. And then it's very interesting what happened in our time, where also museums, they're giving word to the artists, because artists, they have intuition. Maybe they don't have the knowledge that can have a scientist, like, because science, they demonstrate that 1 + 1 is 2. We have intuition, and the intuition, they're very important, because maybe they're not proved by demonstration, but we can read maybe something that should be done to resolve what is in terms of our time that is so in Christ. Yes.
So interesting to have a discussion about that, right? Because it just is endless to really talk about the possibilities, what could be, what might be, should it be. Let me ask you, you have shot so many formidable people, so many well-known faces. Can you discuss a little bit about that to me?
Yes, in what sense? Like an approach of these people?
Just some of the names of some of the people that are very exciting to me. And I think, oh my goodness.
Sure. I mean, sometimes magazine, they just want to photograph these people in a certain particular situation. So one time this magazine called me, and actually was Il Corriere della Sera, to photograph our prime minister in Italy, who is Giulio Andreotti, while he was trying a frac, which because he had an appointment with the Queen Elizabeth. So exactly. So he have to this. They set up this appointment to photograph the prime minister while he's trying this tuxedo. The guy that do the tuxedo just doing this sewing around, and we were interacting with him while he did this. So this photograph, it was all over the publisher, all the magazine, the things, because it was a curiosity. Such an important man, what does he do, and how does he dress when he was going to meet the Queen Elizabeth? And then in that moment, it's a private moment. So that was one curiosity. When I had to do a portrait of a famous person in an unusual situation.
Yeah, that's kind of exciting. Does that make you nervous, or not really? You just approach it like
because as soon as I met it, they told me, you have 10 minutes to do these portraits. Okay, I said, oh my God, okay. I prepared all the lights. Then Andreotti came in the room. I start talking to him and said, President, we were going to do this. So I talked to him 45 minutes because he'd keep me that. And then he had pleasure to talk to me about things. So it was a very interesting. I think the photograph actually turned out very good. I mean, so he said that.
I've seen that photograph. That's absolutely exceptional. I have to
it
say,
was on the
you
cover.
really.
It was on the cover of this. I think. Do you remember the insert of Il Corriere della Sera? It's called Sette. And then, you know, it was published all over that photograph. That was really beautiful. Yeah.
Absolutely. Very exciting to me. If my engineer has some of your work, I'd like to put it up and have you talk very briefly about each one that we put there, if we can get that up there. I'd really like to sort of talk about what was behind it.
Sure.
But he's going to probably have to find it there. I'm going to give him a minute to look for that, and then we can talk about some of that work. There we go. Let's talk about what is this, and what's the medium there? Because that obviously is what, a painting that we're looking at, correct?
It is a photograph. I was very fascinating about this guy, which is a Rasta, Jamaican. And then, you know, the connotation of the guy, which is this, the hair of this guy, I just hidden completely in his face. And then I was very impressed because he was dressed very well, very formal, which you will never see a Rasta dress so well, so classically, I mean, right? Because, for me, it was an occasion just to speak about the different ethnicity on things in this mental vacuity, in a sense, when you are just in this contemplation attitude. And then what do you contemplate? You contemplate this kind of mystery, silence, think that eventually you have the vision that that silence is, which is a very inspiring condition.
But is that a photograph and then you paint over it, or?
Sometimes the color comes first because, as you see, the red is behind his face. So the red comes first, then is printed over, and then there is other layers of paintings that eventually give this effect. So it's interesting, the combination, because, you know, there is the detail of the photo image, but there is also the abstraction of color used in a way that is not possible in the fidelity reading of photography, because photography is very real and the documentation of reality. I just need instead also the possibility to give that abstraction, and paint is perfect because there is, you know, that mystery that come out and is very conducive to the concept I like to represent. Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. Let's go to another one if we can. What about, tell me what's behind this?
Well, this is a guy that walking in the park. I'm in the park with very big telephoto. And then I try to isolate him in this moment of, you know, pensative situations. And then how to just amplify this kind of extraction of his thoughts, because he's probably, who knows where is his mind in that moment, right? He's walking in the park like a simple man, but he's really well dressed. He has a lot of respect for himself. And then I thought it was great. And I amplified this concept to this graphic form that eventually amplify this action of the mind. Where is his mind in that moment, walking in the park? So I'm fascinating about these contemplative moments.
I absolutely love that. You know, you and I think very much alike. I'll see someone like that as well in a park, walking down the street, if they look intense for a moment or whatever. And I think, what are they thinking? What's going on with them?
Where is the mind? Exactly. No, I mean, it's a very important. And if his mind is where we are speaking about, that is an incredible state of mind, very inspiring. And that's where you can access really well the world of ideas, where the ideas come from. So maybe he's exploring his folly, in a sense.
Yeah, I love that you thought that way. Let's put up another one. Oh, that's interesting.
Well, I see. When we are speaking about this kind of a deep reading of reality,
Yeah.
we are going out of the frame. So,
Okay.
so that's why I put this guy, which you don't know if he's a man or a woman. Is very interesting. I found at the party, and I asked him or her, whoever, to if I could do it a portrait. And then they said, yes, I mean, that's fine. And so I put them in profile, like with this profile, very hieratic, because that's what I'm interested to represent. And then I photographed the Baroque frames in another contest. And then I put it together. And then there is this abstraction going on. When we are able to read beyond the frame, meaning to me that we are deeper reading of reality. So this image was expressing, from my point of view, this concept.
Now, I know here in Los Angeles that much of your work can be seen, not at the moment, but represented at the Chateau Gallery. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So when we go to a show and we look at the artwork, the work of an artist, a photographer, what's the best way to do that? I very often will just sit with my thoughts in front of a piece and let it come to me, right? What's the best way to do that? Because I might be sitting next to somebody who feels or sees something completely different.
Well, watching a painting is a one-to-one approach. So I love when we go in a museum that there is a bench in front of a painting, because in that moment you can sit, and then it is an intense relationship that we have with a visual contact that you can have with that painting. You need time to do that. And I think you should be comfortable to do it. You should sit down. And then that's the ideal relationship from my point of view, especially when we are speaking about contemplation of or inner visions, or you know, to absorb at the maximum what you feel in front of that image. So I feel that that should be the ideal condition to just see, and then it should be perfectly illuminated, and the museum knows how to do it. And so that's why when we go at the Getty or in a beautiful museum where these conditions are created really well, we have a perception of the art in a highest level, in a sense. Yes.
Yeah. Anything else you'd love to tell my audience about you, your work, your approach, where they can find your work, especially if they want to purchase some work, please, that we didn't cover?
Well, I believe in studio visits because are the most personal way to just interact with the potential client. Because at the point that there is the possibility to know the artist, speak about more personally about things, and of course shows. The shows is beautiful because usually there is an art curator that just gives a concept to a show and just drive the person that visit the show through a concept and explained the concept, so at least it's not lost in something that doesn't have any directions, you know.
Yeah.
And many people need this, so that's why it's beautiful to go to see show in museum, because there is a conceptualized behind through our curators what artists want to say. Yeah.
What is next for you? Because I know this exhibit in Naples is really a very special one. You just returned from Naples, actually, from the opening.
Yes. There is many. I have many ideas, and then yes, and to just start working to an ideas for me to it's important to just focus the concept first, because the trend is to produce a work that has a kind of continuity and to explain the concept through. So then, you know, became a solo exhibition or something really focused on a subject. And the subjects that we are interested now is the difficult time that we're living right now. Artists, they're working on this. The fact that, this lack of humanity that we're living, that is touchable with our hand, socially speaking, and, that is the direction to work. Yes.
Yeah, very interesting. You spend most of your time now in America, even though you are from Italy, right?
Well, I travel a lot because this year I had many shows also in Colombia, in Bogota, in Italy, so here in US. So yeah, it was a pretty active year. I hope next year will be the same.
Yeah, we really, really look forward to it. Could you tell people how they can get in touch with you if they're interested in experiencing your artwork, please?
Yes, well, through the website there is all the news, and then in a much easier reading, the social, because through Facebook or Instagram there is the curiosity about the work that sometimes people want to know details about what you're doing, what you're thinking. And then is a very important way to just put out there what I'm thinking, because maybe what I'm thinking could be useful to you or to another one. And then this sharing and this contact is very important. And then I feel that the social just give us new tools that if you can use it, because it's very powerful tool that need to be used with wisdom, in a sense, because
yeah,
such a powerful tool. Yeah.
I agree. I get in touch with so many people that I interview, and they get in touch with me through the social media. I think it's terrific. I mean, without it, we wouldn't be able to do this, right? It would be more structured. It would be a network telling, so we could get out so much more interesting content, I believe.
Absolutely.
Right?
We can, yeah, it's a way to speak about very deep things, even in a very light way.
Exactly. I so appreciate you coming on today. I really do, Claudio Santini. Just getting behind the mind of a photographer and an artist and a thinker and a writer. It's really very, it's a privilege to be able to speak with you. So thank you. Thank you very, very, very much. And people, please go to claudiosantini.com. Is that correct? Isn't that your website?
Correct. Yes.
All of your work is there. Your exhibits are there. Your past exhibits are there. And About You is on there as well. And the way you think and the way you approach your work, which is really very interesting and delightful. I also enjoyed hearing you talk about the meditation and how it helped to center you, because very often artists and writers, they have great ideas and concepts, but it's very difficult to center that, because they get so lost. As what did you refer to it? Like think like a monkey, but instead, the meditation has taught you to sort of compartmentalize that thinking to really produce something special.
Exactly.
So,
one secret of meditation is that when you are able to just observe one thought rising, the thoughts disappear.
yeah.
So if you can do only when you can observe one thing at the time, which often we are unable to do it.
Yeah, no, I understand fully. So thank you again for sharing that and for joining us on our show, which you can find, everybody, on YouTube, on Facebook, and then we will post promos throughout the month of our show. You can also find it as an audio podcast on iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, and anywhere else you can find my interview with Claudio Santini on Deborah Cobelt Live and the Little Italy podcast. It'll be on both of those platforms. So I very, very much appreciate you all joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Deborah.